As we define excellence in our industry, it is truly chiseled into the Robert T. Gair Award. While Mr. Gair's ingenuity gave birth to our folding carton industry, he also established a legacy of significance. So the Gair Award is being bestowed tonight. It's given for a lifetime of achievement in three notable areas. First, you must make significant contributions to the paperboard industry. Secondly, you must be committed to the Paperboard Packaging Council. And last but not least, you must demonstrate a faithfulness to the nominee's company and community. Just the fact that this award is not given out annually only magnifies the importance and places more prominence on the esteemed nature of the award. Steve, tonight, we honor you.
Steve Voorhees' parents met in Atlanta, Georgia, and married in 1946. His dad was born in Fresno, California, and was a career Navy officer, commander of destroyers. He ended up living in Atlanta to lead the NROTC program at Georgia Tech. Steve's mother was born in Atlanta and graduated from the University of Georgia. She worked in banking. Steve was born in 1954 at Bethesda Naval Hospital, now known as Walter Reed. Steve and his older brother moved often with the family, as is common for Navy families. In 1963, his dad retired from the Navy and began a second career in Kalamazoo, Michigan, in specialty chemical sales, which included sales to paper companies. Steve grew up in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and demonstrated early signs of entrepreneurial drive, working paper routes, dishwashing, sausage making as a teamster, and an ice cream truck driver. Steve attended Phillips Academy in Andover, Massachusetts, where he earned awards in math and played intramural sports. Steve went on to attend Northwestern University, studying mathematics and economics, as well as earning a teaching certificate, whereupon he became a teaching assistant at Phillips Academy as well as a coach. This was followed by work as a consultant in the all-volunteer Army at the Department of Defense in Virginia. He then attended Darden Business School, where he was awarded recognition for his excellence in studies there. Steve married Celia in 2004. They each have 2 children who have gone on to marry and found their own families. So Steve and Celia now have 7 grandchildren altogether.
Steve and I actually worked together for 19 of the last 20 years. We met at Sonat, where we both worked, and for 6 years he was always involved in things that I was involved in. At the time we were in a joint venture with Enron, and he was the one responsible for determining whether the deals that we did with Enron were good or bad. A job he did to perfection, because we made a lot of money, and picking the ones that made money and not the ones that lost. That impressed me very much, and so years later when I joined Rock 10, I wanted Steve to join us. I wasn't successful for the first year because he had the ability to win an RFP from Southern Company, and there is a 680 megawatt gas-fired electric generating plant located in Anniston, Alabama. That is a product of his first year after Sonat. And it was after that year that I was able to persuade Steve to join us at Rock 10. Steve joined us as CFO, a job he'd never had, and I believe that because of his experience in business development and his attitude of coming to work every day with a mindset of what can I do today to make money, he'd be a great asset. So for 5 years, Steve and I split up the cost reduction opportunities. I took the plants and the operations, and he took everything else. So essentially all of the administrative functions, a lot of which had to be centralized, a lot of changes in the way decisions were made, and a lot of structure had to be put in place at Rock 10, and that was Steve's job, another job that he did to perfection.
I'll never forget the first time I met Steve back in 2007 when he was the CFO for Rock 10 and I was president of Southern Container. He and Jim Rubright came to our corporate offices in Long Island, and they were courting the acquisition of Southern Container. And I remember in that first meeting, a genuine sense of what was developing that was really quite unique, as we had been considering other potential companies to acquire us, but we really felt a genuine sincerity and an interest in trying to help our management team succeed long term. That string of acquisitions is really quite incredible, ticking them off. In 2008, Southern Container. 2011, the acquisition of Smurfit Stone, which was a true industry game changer. 2014, we acquired the Simpson-Tacoma Craft virgin white top linerboard mill out on the West Coast. 2015, we closed the joint venture Grupo Gandhi, giving us a true strategic foothold in Mexico with the best industry player in the business. 2015, we acquired the Dublin, Georgia recycled mill, which dramatically expanded our lightweight linerboard capabilities. Numerous other corrugated converting acquisition businesses that helped to integrate our containerboard business into a truly benchmark number 2 in the world corrugated packaging capability. And then, of course, the ultimate merger in 2015 with Midwestvaco, which truly created a premier paper packaging company, agnostic to substrates, both folding cartons, corrugated packaging, high graphics capability that is really second to none.
I really got to know Steve quite well as we worked together closely during the creation of WestRock, which was the combination of Rock-Ten and Midwestvaco, and throughout his subsequent service as our Chief Executive Officer for almost 6 years. Throughout all of this, I developed great respect and admiration for him as a man, in particular his character and his capacity as a leader. I'd like to emphasize what I would characterize as his tenacity. It's clearly been reflected in his tireless, almost relentless pursuit of goals and objectives that he and the board established, crisscrossing the country and the globe, visiting with operations and customers. Something that I have been very impressed by, and that is his strong loyalty and commitment to the success of his team and to men and women all across WestRock. I would cite his tremendous efforts during his final year as WestRock's chief executive, a year in which the company was challenged greatly by both COVID and a cyber attack. Rather than remain in Atlanta, Steve dedicated himself to making regular weekly visits to mills and plants to express appreciation and admiration to those teammates who were keeping the company moving forward in the face of significant business and personal challenge. Needless to say, the impact of this was substantial on those facilities visited, as well as the company as a whole.
Steve was a wonderful leader, incredibly bright, but even more important to me was that he was a wonderful person, extremely humble, an excellent listener, truly cares deeply about his people and the entire organization. And those attributes led Steve as CEO to make transformative change in our culture.
When I think about the analytical side of Steve, it was his keen eye for acquisitions and growth in our business that helped us grow to the company we are today. He made the right investments in our business. He thought about the mergers and acquisitions that would help us grow as a company, that would broaden our portfolio, put us in new geographies and end markets, and really helped us to grow significantly. The second thing, really reflecting on his connection to people, is how he basically shaped and reinforced the WestRock culture, grounded in the principles of integrity, respect, and accountability and excellence. And everywhere Steve traveled, as our company grew, he reinforced that with people and personally. You always knew where Steve stood on the importance of the WestRock culture.
What made Steve an exceptional leader is his agility, his versatility, but most importantly, his authenticity. He could juggle very complex strategic problems and then give that one perspective that nobody ever thought of. And the next thing you'd know, he would talk to one of the people at the shop floor and talk about things that are personal. So that versatility and authenticity for me was made it stand out for Steve as an exceptional leader.
Over the time that Steve visited our newly built plant in Brazil, in Porto Feliz, and we had business reviews, we had conversations about the plant and the business, but Steve wanted so much to reserve time for a town hall meeting with the people. He wanted so much to engage with the people. And over his delivery in a town hall meeting with about 100 people at the plant, he inserted so many comments about our culture, about our values, and he also launched his view about diversity and belonging back then.
Steve is big into junior achievement. WestRock was one of the first corporations to support the junior achievement program here, which is really where you get 6th, 7th graders and you teach them life skills about what it's like to work and how to open a bank account and how do you create entrepreneurship.
I've known Steve probably for about 15 years now. Originally it was through Junior Achievement of Georgia, and he had gotten involved as a volunteer with that organization. He and I met over breakfast one morning, and immediately I knew he'd be somebody that we'd want to have on our board. And so ever since then, was on the board for Junior Achievement and then now 3DE National. It always comes to mind about Steve in terms of his leadership is just this humility that is then overlaying just incredible brilliance, and his insight, his perspective that he has on things is usually quite unique and always spot on.
We've known each other for a long time. We've started a lot of boards together, we've industry activities, we've been on panels together, so we've known each other. And then he lives in Atlanta, and so we overlap here. Steve's very philanthropic. He and his wife both are, and my wife and I overlap in them, the arts center or the education groups.
As a leading producer of paperboard, Steve also understood the importance of the independent folding carton network and was a frequent speaker at industry events and was a great ally of the independent folding carton community.
Here are a few of his accomplishments. He grew a company from $1.5 billion in sales to $18 billion. He led 4 major acquisitions at Rock 10 and WestRock that has led WestRock to be the 2nd largest packaging company in the U.S. He nurtured a culture that yielded Fortune magazine recognizing WestRock for 5 consecutive years as being one of the world's most admired companies. He was also awarded 2018 RISI's North American CEO of the Year. In 2020, Tappy Pima recognized him as Executive of the Year, and he was the 29th annual Executive Papermaker of the Year recognized by Paper Age. Furthermore, he established a legacy that will continue long into the future when he established the WestRock Foundation. This alone has impacted the Atlanta community by investing into junior achievement and the Boys and Girls Club. And similarly, he led an initiative to create the WestRock Employee Relief Fund, which has aided WestRock employees that have had hardships with natural disasters. So like Mr. Gair, a life of significance, Steve, you have led. You've impacted over 60,000 employees, over 6 million people in the greater Atlanta area, and the tens of millions connected to our industry.
I was reading the Atlanta Business Chronicle one time, and this is after I'd known Steve for probably about 5 or 6 years, and just flipping through the pages and see that there's a whole profile on him because he's playing adult baseball as a over 50-year-old league. And I'm like, gosh, that's just something that he's got all these unique elements of his personality that sometimes you aren't even aware of.
Hi, I'm David Sewell, CEO for WestRock, and it is truly an honor for me to be able to participate in the recognition of Steve Voorhees. You know, Steve's leadership has helped build WestRock into the incredible company it is today. He has a passion for employees, he has a passion for customers, and a true love of this industry. On a personal level, I've really enjoyed getting to know Steve as I have made the transition to try to backfill him, which has been no easy task. Incredibly difficult shoes to fill. So Steve, I want to thank you for everything you've done for me, for the company, for our customers, and the industry. Everyone here at WestRock is so proud of you for this wonderful achievement, and we wish you the best of luck in retirement.